when it comes to where things stand in the ACC, who do you project the top 5 teams to be over the course of the next 3 years? Your factors that you want to use to make your definitive statements on those top 5 teams, totally yours. Full transparency, here's our factors. I've said it for the other conferences. I'll say it again so we're all synced up here. Leadership stability. Is your head coach going to be there for the course of those next 3 years? If he's in this top 5, you feel relatively solid about your chances there. Roster base, what do you have in-house already? And then your ability to acquire more talent. Talking portal, talking recruiting, talking all that. Now, when it comes to commitment to ball, it's no secret now. College football is changing as a landscape. NIL, not so much a desire, more of a need. Like, you got to have the NIL in place to attract top talent and land top talent. Also, just being committed to giving your football team what they need to succeed, period. Whether it be resources from NIL, like I just said, could be facilities, whatever it is. Making sure there's alignment there from football to the powers that be. Got to have synchronization there to be effective. Trend for us plays a massive role in how we put this top 5 together. So, let's jump right into it, baby. At number 5, I think NC State is the number 5 team in the ACC, if you were to average it out over the course of the next 3 years. And the reason why I have NC State at number 5, I just know what I'm getting in Dave Doeren. I know what kind of football team they're going to be. They're tough, they're physical, they're competitive. It does not matter who they lost, doesn't matter who they have coming back. You're getting the same brand of football. Utah's this way, Iowa's this way. Doesn't matter what changed from personnel. With Dave Doeren running the show, this is how it's going to be. Sorry about it. Now, haven't lost. I'll rephrase that. They haven't won less than 8 games since 2019. Okay, so that tells you the floor for this team overall, if you're going to average it out, pretty high. They recruit at a pretty mid-tier level, but you have seen them get a little bit more in the NIL space. You'd have to believe Landon, the quarterback they did in Grayson McCall, I don't think a quarterback comes at a low price point when you look at what happens in the transfer portal. So I think they're getting more involved at that level. I think they have more of the commitment that they need at that level. They're a team that's consistently done more with a lower ranking recruiting class. I don't expect that to change. NC State for us, the number 5 team in the ACC for us, projecting over the course of the next 3 years. Now, at number 4, this was a tricky one. A couple of ways to go here. It's a small sample size, so again, we're trusting the trend pretty strongly here. How about Jeff Brom in Louisville? I got the Cards at number 4, man. Jeff Brom, try this on for size. I think he could be the Lane Kiffin of the ACC. And not with how he operates on Twitter, though we need more Lane Kiffin kind of Twitter head coaches in college football. He's taken 27 transfers in 2023 and 26 transfers in 2024. So north of 25 transfers both of the years he's been there. He clearly has the support and the resources he needs to build his roster through the portal. I think in the small sample size, their trajectory is obviously really encouraging, having played for the ACC last season and given Florida State a pretty good game with their backup quarterback. But still, the fact that you were in that game with Jeff Brom running the show as early as he is in his time in Louisville gives me encouragement. I don't think that the way they're recruiting at the high school level right now will stay stagnant. If I had to guess, I think Jeff Brom is probably building through the portal, trying to correlate and translate that to success right away. And then when they have success on the field, that in itself is going to trickle down and impact recruiting at the high school level. So if you're not thrilled with the recruiting rankings right now at the high school level, keep in mind that you're pushing the portal pretty heavily, and so that does kind of change your scholarship count. It would not surprise me if their recruiting started to really pick up because of the success they've had on the field. So Louisville, with their head coach there and Jeff Brom, it's obviously his alma mater with him having played at Louisville. Just making sure we say that because I think the stability he has being there, as long as he wins, obviously, I don't see him leaving for another job anytime soon. And number 3, we'll get some pushback here for having them higher or lower. There's no mixed opinions on this team, or there's no weak opinions on this team, rather. I got Clemson at number 3. There's going to be a lot of Dabo Swinney jokes in the comment section. Bring them on. Bring them on. Have they embraced the portal? Do they need to? Absolutely. Have they achieved the way they expect to achieve there? No. At least in recent history. Like, they won the ACC 2 years ago, and still you got people saying, well, Dabo Swinney's washed, he's this, he's that. They won the ACC 2 years ago. He's got not one, but 2 national championships to his resume. That matters to me with the leadership component of this whole thing. I think if they were to embrace the portal, they'd be a lot higher on this list. It doesn't change the fact they're trending backwards right now, given what they've done in that small sample size of the last couple of years. But for me, they're still recruiting at a really high level in relation to the rest of the ACC. Like, Clemson is still going to be top 3 in this conference for the most part, year in and year out. And then so you have a solid roster base. You're acquiring talent at a solid level, at the high school level at least, got to get the portal. But you have a culture and a buy-in level there that where guys who come to Clemson, they know what they're signing up for. Nobody is confused when they get to Clemson, South Carolina, and they hear Dabo Swinney talking about things doing his way in their culture. Like, everyone gets what they're signing up for. And so that buy-in that comes with a unique coach like Dabo Swinney with that unique culture, I think at the end of the day, that's a huge net positive, and you see that translate on the field. So just because it hasn't happened the way that you would like it to if you're a Clemson Tiger fan over the last couple of years, I don't think that's reason to panic. To me, I still think they're a top 3 team in this conference. And, you can't overlook the fact that Dabo Swinney's been as successful as he has throughout the course of his career. So, number 3, I got the Clemson Tigers there. And the top 2 now, so where it gets a little bit more intense. My number 2 team in the ACC over the course of the next 3 seasons, I'm going to go ahead and projection rank Miami at that number 2 spot. And for me, we talked about it at the top of this segment. We are betting on the trend. No way around it. You're betting on the trend here. The talent acquisition game from Mario Cristobal is nice. Okay? You keep telling me, hey, you got to acquire talent in college football to win. Everyone says that. Talent acquisition this. Acquire talent that. Portal this. Portal that. Recruit this. Mario Cristobal. Since he's been at Miami, 2023, top 10 class, number 8. 2024, top 5 class, number 5 class in the country. Both years, top of the ACC. Using the portal to their advantage. Obviously, landing a guy like Cam Ward. And so you see that talent acquisition side of things. You say, okay, well, where's the results? People talk about, oh, he's got to take a knee, 7-5 this. Like, it's all fun to win Twitter and stuff like that. I get it. If I had a strong disposition towards Miami, I'd probably take that low-hanging fruit too. But here's the reality. Miami, from year 1 to year 2 under Cristobal, whether it's showing up in the win-loss column or not, and it has to a degree, 7-5 from 5-7 the year before, they are getting better. They're getting better. It's a simple statement, but I think it holds a lot of weight. Total defense, number 64 nationally in 2022, number 24 nationally in 2023. Talk about the offense. Yards per play, 89th nationally to 22 nationally. And that was with a team that still turned the ball over about as much as anybody else in the country, with a quarterback who really struggled for a large part of the year in Tyler Van Dyke. Cam Ward, he's got to fix those fumbles, but he throws a heck of a lot less interceptions than TVD did. It's not me knocking TVD. I'm just saying you have an upgrade with Cam Ward. That's reason for some excitement and reason for some expectation there. Talk about the commitment level at Miami, very, very high. They'll play ball. They'll play ball when it comes to what they need from a resources and a roster building point of view. By nature of landing Cam Ward, that should tell us, I think, a fair amount. I'm not saying I have inside information on anything about these quarterbacks, but you land a top quarterback, common sense says that comes at a decent price point. So you talk about Miami, you talk about what they haven't done yet under Mario Cristobal, and we had him on the show a moment ago. The thing for me with Miami, and I said this about Texas too when Sark got there, and they had their 5-7 season, Miami is going through a lifestyle change, to use a metaphor here. Like, think about it this way. Whenever you are living unhealthy, you're eating junk food, you're not working out, whenever you go through that lifestyle change of doing things the right way, which I believe Mario Cristobal and Miami are doing things the right way currently behind closed doors, at first you have some really adverse effects. You were eating junk food, now you're eating veggies. Guess what? You feel sick. You're like, is this bad for me? No, it's not bad for you. You just got to go through some growing pains. You just have to go a little bit of an acclimation period to get to where you want to go. You start working out a little bit. You weren't working out at all. You start running a mile every day. Guess what? You're going to be sore. You're going to have some muscles that really don't feel that great the day after you do the right things. Same thing with Miami. Culturally, there were issues. Roster-wise, there were issues. There were things not being done the correct way, whether it be from a high-level roster building standpoint, whether it be from a just straight-up preparation standpoint. There's going to be some adverse effects. You've seen that now. 5-7, nobody's signing up for 5-7 at Miami. Nobody's saying 7-5 is good enough at Miami, but guess what? They're doing the right things behind closed doors, and you're seeing that trend on paper. And I think we're going to see that trend in the win-loss column show up in a big way here in 2024. No predictions just yet, but for me, over the course of the next 3 years, I'd put Miami in that 2 spot. Now, the number 1 team over the course of the next 3 seasons in the ACC, I'm rolling with Coach Norvell and Florida State. And yes, a lot of things are going to change for Florida State because of who they brought in through the portal. From last year to this year, they're 83rd in returning production. And there's a lot of things said about Mike Norvell. He relies too heavily on the portal. Say what you want, man. The guys that portal in there, they fit really well, have a lot of success. Keon Coleman, Jared Verse, Johnny Wilson, Braden Fisk. Say what you want. Guys that transfer to Florida State, they have success. Okay, well, what about the recruiting side of things, JD? That matters when it comes to this list, right? It totally does. Florida State, from 2023 to 2024, they're up 10 spots. They're sitting at the number 12 class in the entire country right now. Talk about 2025. At the time of us being live right now, they have a top 10 class in the entire country. Now, a long way to go till signing day, but you see what I'm saying here. The on-field product is starting to trickle, I think, towards the high school level. I don't think the plan for Mike Norvell was always to rely on the portal the way that he does. But tell you what, man, Florida State is about as good as anybody else of being successful with the portal. That Mike Norvell trust factor for me, when it comes to what Florida State will be over the course of the next 3 seasons, the personnel is going to change. The coaches will probably change too, you have to believe, if you have the success you want to have. And I'm not predicting that. I'm just saying, with success, people want to hire your coaches. We'll see if that happens or not. But I think Mike Norvell being the temperature setter in Tallahassee matters a lot. And that's a big reason why I think Florida State will be where they're at. Now, I think it's also important to note here that Mike Norvell isn't going anywhere. The Alabama job became available, and we got to see exactly where everyone stood on staying where they're at or going somewhere else. Because Alabama, man, it's an attractive job. Say what you want about following Nick Saban, man. The resources, the brand power, it's an attractive job. And Mike Norvell enhanced his deal. He said, Florida State's where I want to be, which should tell you everything that you need to know about how Mike Norvell feels about his chances to win in Tallahassee. If you don't think you can get it done at your current spot, you go somewhere else. Mike Norvell says, I want to stay here. He told us on our interview on Tuesday, he's like, people make the place. And I feel really good about the people here. So with that being said, I think the culture he has in place, the standard he has in place, that's what wins. That's what's getting it done for them. And as long as they keep attacking the talent side as they are, and we'll see if it kind of evens out from portal to the high school level over the course of the next couple of years. But his process, man, last thing I want to say, his process, he talks about it in a different way, but he talks about the process and the day-type compartments, taking it day by day, focusing on growth. He talks about it the exact same way that Nick Saban did. And I'm not saying the exact same way in terms of the word to use. I'm talking about the consistency, the focus, like hammering home, hey, one day at a time. So I'm not saying Mike Norvell is Nick Saban, but I am saying Florida State's in very good hands, and I'm excited to see how they trend over the course of the next couple of seasons. So to recap it for you here, our projection rankings within the ACC are as follows with the top 5. At number 5, we got NC State. I know what I'm getting. It's a Dave Doeren coach football team. At number 4, we got Louisville. The Brahms squad, man, they're just getting started. I like what they got going there. I like the commitment, too, from the powers that be to get what they need. At number 3, I got Clemson. Say what you want about Dabo. Dude's got a tremendous resume. They're going to recruit in the top 3 of the conference. Tremendous buy-in. Number 2, I got Miami. I'm betting on the trend, man. Betting on the trend. Arrow is pointing up. They acquire talent better than anybody else in this conference at the high school level. I'm excited about Mario Cristobal and company. At number 1, you got Florida State. The Mike Norvell factor, man. I think they're building something. I don't think they're done. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.